The lid of the shipping crate splintered open, and Aria gasped for air as the barrel of a gun pressed against her forehead. "Don't move," a deep voice commanded in the darkness. Her lungs burned from hours without fresh oxygen, but that wasn't what made her heart race. It was the realization that her desperate escape from one nightmare had delivered her directly into another. The luxury penthouse surrounding her was definitely not the shipping warehouse she'd intended to reach. "Please," she whispered, tears streaming down her pale cheeks, "if they find me, I'll be forced to marry him, or worse." The tremor in her voice betrayed the stakes: her freedom, her future, perhaps her life itself. The man towering above her, impeccably dressed despite the late hour, narrowed his eyes suspiciously. Who breaks into a billionaire's penthouse by shipping themselves in a box? And why did the shipping manifest list his business rival's name as the sender? The mystery of her appearance raised more questions than answers. The man lowered his weapon slightly. "I'm Ethan Blackwood. This is my home, which you've illegally entered. Give me one reason why I shouldn't call security right now." His tone was cold, but something in his eyes, curiosity, perhaps, gave Aria a sliver of hope. What he couldn't know was that the powerful family hunting her had connections throughout the city, including law enforcement. If he reported her, she'd be returned to a fate worse than prison. "The men who want me, they're dangerous," Aria explained, her long hair falling across her face as she struggled to stand. "I didn't know this crate was coming here. I thought it was going to the port." She winced, revealing a bruised wrist. "I had 10 minutes to escape before my uncle finalized the contract. I'm not merchandise to be sold to the highest bidder." Asterisk if you've ever felt trapped by circumstances beyond your control, hit that like button. This story might just show you there's always a way out, asterisk. Ethan's expression shifted as he evaluated her story. Against his better judgment, he offered her water and a place to sit. "You have 5 minutes to convince me this isn't an elaborate corporate espionage scheme." "Your rival, Maxwell Harrington. He's my uncle's business partner and the man I was being forced to marry," Aria revealed, watching Ethan's expression transform from suspicion to intrigue. "I overheard them discussing how the merger of our families would give them leverage against you. That's why your address was on the shipping manifest. This crate was supposed to contain prototype technology bound for your company. I just repurposed it." Ethan paced the room, his mind racing. "If what you're saying is true, you've just become the most valuable person in my ongoing corporate war." His lips curved into a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Perhaps we can help each other." "I'm not trading one cage for another," Aria stated firmly, standing her ground despite her vulnerable position. "I'm offering protection, not imprisonment," Ethan countered, his tone softening unexpectedly. "Stay here where they can't find you, and help me understand what they're planning. In exchange, I'll ensure you get your freedom, permanently." For 3 days, Aria remained in Ethan's penthouse, gradually revealing details about her uncle's operation. Each morning, she woke to find fresh clothes and necessities provided for her. Each evening, they shared meals during which Ethan's guarded demeanor gradually gave way to glimpses of wit and even kindness. "You don't strike me as the damsel in distress type," he remarked one evening over dinner. "There must be more to your story than escaping an arranged marriage." Aria twirled her fork thoughtfully. "I have a master's in corporate law. I was supposed to be joining my family's legal team when I discovered they were involved in something illegal. The marriage was their way of silencing me." "So not just a pretty face hiding in a shipping crate," Ethan teased, his eyes sparkling with newfound respect. "And you're not just a cold-hearted billionaire with trust issues," she fired back with a small smile. If you're enjoying this story of unexpected connections, subscribe now to never miss our weekly uploads. Their tentative alliance was shattered the next morning when Aria overheard Ethan on the phone. "Yes, I have her. No, she doesn't suspect anything. After the board meeting tomorrow." Her blood ran cold. Had he been playing her all along? Was he working with her uncle? When Ethan returned, he found her frantically gathering her things. "You're working with them," she accused, backing away. "You're going to hand me over after the board meeting." The color drained from his face. "Aria, you misunderstood. I trusted you." The betrayal stung worse than she expected. In just a few days, she'd begun to see beyond his carefully constructed facade, begun to care. "The call was about evidence against your uncle," Ethan explained urgently. "I've been building a case against Maxwell for months. You're the key witness who can bring both him and your uncle down." He reached for her hand, his touch gentle despite his intensity. "I would never hand you over to them. Never." The sincerity in his eyes made her hesitate. "Prove it." Ethan led her to his office, unlocking a hidden safe to reveal files documenting months of investigation into Maxwell and her uncle's illegal activities. "Tomorrow's board meeting is where I present this evidence. With your testimony, we can end their operation completely." "Why didn't you tell me?" Aria asked, conflict evident in her expression. "Because the less you knew, the safer you were," he admitted. "If they somehow got to you, you couldn't reveal what you didn't know." Their eyes locked, and the tension between them shifted from suspicion to something far more dangerous. Ethan stepped closer, his voice dropping. "I've spent years building walls around myself. Then you literally crash into my life in a wooden box, and suddenly..." His security system blared to life, interrupting the moment. On the monitors, armed men were entering the building. "They've found me," Aria whispered, terror flooding back. This is the moment everything changes. Double tap that like button if you're on the edge of your seat, There's a panic room behind the bookcase, Ethan said, already moving to activate it. "Get inside. I'll handle this." "No." Aria grabbed his arm. "They'll kill you. They're not here to negotiate." "Trust me," he replied, the simple request loaded with meaning after their misunderstanding. The panic room was a steel fortress, but its monitors gave Aria a clear view of what happened next. Ethan greeted the intruders with surprising calm, acting as though their armed entrance was merely an inconvenience. "Gentlemen, I was expecting you tomorrow at the board meeting," he said, pouring himself a drink as though entertaining guests rather than facing thugs. "Where is she?" demanded a familiar voice as her uncle stepped forward. "Who?" Ethan asked innocently. "My niece. We know she's here." "Your niece sent herself to my address in a shipping crate?" "Creative family you have," Ethan remarked dryly. "But no, I haven't seen any women in boxes lately." Maxwell emerged from behind her uncle. "Enough games, Blackwood. Give us the girl and the evidence, or this ends badly for you." In the panic room, Aria frantically searched for anything to help. She found Ethan's private phone and realized she could access his security protocols. With quick thinking from her legal background, she formulated a plan. Outside, Ethan was playing for time. "I'm afraid I can't help you. But I can offer you a deal." A gunshot rang out, and Aria watched in horror as Ethan clutched his shoulder, blood seeping between his fingers. Her uncle stepped forward, weapon raised for a kill shot. At that moment, the penthouse flooded with light as every screen in the apartment activated simultaneously, displaying the incriminating files Ethan had gathered, along with a live stream of the current confrontation broadcasting to the police, Ethan's security team, and the board of directors scheduled for tomorrow's meeting. "Drop your weapons," came an authoritative voice over the intercom, Aria, using the panic room's communication system. "This entire confrontation is being streamed live to the police and the board of directors. It's over." The next hours passed in a blur of police, paramedics, and statements. Ethan's wound was serious but not life-threatening. By morning, her uncle and Maxwell were in custody, their criminal empire crumbling under the weight of evidence. In the hospital room, Aria sat beside Ethan's bed, their hands intertwined. "You saved my life," he acknowledged, uncharacteristic vulnerability in his voice. No one's ever put themselves at risk for me before. You did the same for me, she replied softly. When you stood between them and the panic room, you were protecting me at your own expense. If you believe everyone deserves a second chance at happiness, share this video with someone who needs to hear that message today. I think, Ethan said carefully, that we've both spent too long in boxes of other people's making. You in your family's expectations, me in my fortress of solitude. Aria smiled, a genuine expression that transformed her face. Is that your billionaire way of saying you don't want to let me go? I would never keep you anywhere you didn't choose to be, he clarified, his eyes serious. But I'd like you to stay. Not as someone under my protection, but as someone by my side. 6 months later, Aria stood at the podium of the newly established Blackwood Foundation for Victims of Trafficking and Coercion. The charity, funded by Ethan but led by her, had already helped dozens of people escape situations like hers. Sometimes, she told the audience, freedom comes in unexpected packages. Mine came in a wooden box that delivered me not to safety, but to someone who taught me that true freedom isn't about escaping, it's about finding where you belong. From the front row, Ethan watched with pride, the woman who had literally crashed into his life now transformed from a desperate fugitive to a powerful advocate, and the love he never expected to find. Their journey had begun with a desperate escape and a gun to her head, but ended with something neither had dared hope for, a love born of respect, trust forged in danger, and the courage to break free from the past. If this story touched your heart, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Sometimes the greatest love stories begin in the most unlikely places. Leave a comment below sharing what you'd risk everything to escape from, and what you're hoping to find. Until next time, remember that sometimes the boxes we fear most lead us exactly where we need to be.